So hey everybody, Josh here. Welcome back to another interview. I'm the course careers instructor for the IT course, and we have Tevin here with us, who's a recent graduate and kind of recently got a job as well. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for allowing me to be in this interview.
For sure. Before you started course careers and getting into IT, kind of what did you do beforehand?
Well, before IT, I spent maybe 10 years in warehouse.
Oh,
So I
wow.
have a lot of anywhere from like loading and unloading to a lead position, all of that sort of thing. And outside of that, my activities were dancing, video editing, music. I was busy.
Yeah, I know how that is, and that reminds me. Normally, I would ask for your socials, but you gave it to me ahead of time, so I'll put. You have a YouTube and LinkedIn, of course, so I'll kind of put those in the description for people.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So from the time you started, how long did it take you to actually complete the course?
It didn't take too long. It took me maybe about a month, but after work, I was, grinding on the modules. So it didn't really take too long for me.
Didn't take too long. And then from the time you finished the course, do you remember about like how long it took you to find your first job?
I want to say maybe 2 months, around 2 months.
Were you applying like really hardcore? Or, like how was it, like kind of casual, or like how was your how did that go?
Oh man, my hands almost cramped up from all those clicking and typing. Maybe I want to say at least 15 applications a day while I was at home.
Oh, wow.
But while at work, I did like on my breaks, maybe 5 or 10 applications.
That's a lot. Did you use that tracking template to kind of keep track of all of
Yes.
your? Okay, there's probably that thing is like full probably.
It worked while being at home, but then while I was at work, I'm like, I did so many applications, I forgot to keep track of them. So
Yeah.
I must have done maybe 300 plus by this point.
Dang. Did you have like a lot of interviews, or how many, do you remember like how many interviews you had before you
To be honest with you, I've had maybe 2 interviews.
and you just got hired like on the second one, or how did that go? And you don't have to answer this like straight up, but like what kind of company did you end up working for, or like even where did you work if you're comfortable with that? Or
It's more like a smart shelf company. So I don't know if you notice like the prices on the shelves at grocery stores are now LED. So they all have monitors, and as soon as you step toward them, it shows the price, and different things like that. It's pretty cool the way they demonstrated everything. It's kind of like a automated store.
Okay.
So you just scan a QR code, walk in, and do what you have to do, and then walk out.
That's kind of cool. It's like the Amazon-ish, like where you can just like roll in.
Yeah, so for my position, I'll basically be monitoring all of the transactions, and if there are any errors, I go in and fix them.
And then are you allowed to say like a ballpark of your salary, and did you have to negotiate for it at all, or how did that go?
It was non-negotiable, but the ballpark is more, I would say 37K to like 41K.
Gotcha.
So kind of.
That's cool. And then this question's like not part of the ones I sent you, so I can like take it out. But people tend to,
Yeah.
to ask, like, what can you say, like your geographic region ish? Is it like Midwest, or like one of the coasts, or where would you say?
One of the coasts.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you have any kind of experience with IT before course careers, or was it kind of like your own kind of messing around with stuff, or?
Yeah, it was more so figuring out like troubleshooting. So it wasn't like any vast knowledge or anything of the sort. It was more like, let me Google this and then see how I can fix this or turn this type of screen brightness, that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was for me too. I avoided IT for the longest time, but I was kind of good at computers, so I would just kind of like, I could use them, but I wasn't like a professional, so that resonates with me. Was there any part of the course that you found like particularly helpful when it came to like interviewing and job hunting, or anything stand out in your mind in that regard?
Basically, the interview portion of the course, that it really helped. I don't know if you want me to give out like a certain tip or.
Yeah, you can.
So basically, I always had a problem with interviews. So I was always the one that would jumble my answers. But the tip that you gave about asking them, can I have a second to, process and allow my answer to formulate, that helped so much to the point where people were like, wow, I never expected anybody to answer like that. Or like, this was actually the perfect answer we were looking for. Yeah, that really helped.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. I think, where did I learn that? I learned that when I was like trying really desperately to study for like my software engineering interviews, and I learned that from someone. I think it might have been Clem Mihailescu, who's like another YouTuber, and I was like, this works pretty well. So I tried to like put that in the course. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, that's good to hear. And then for if anyone's like interested in the course, is there anything that you would warn them about, like, oh, this part is like hard, or you want to maybe do this before enrolling, or any thoughts like that?
Well, I think during the beginning portion, or I think it's before they actually start the course, you have a free introductory course. I think that kind of explains everything in general. So I don't think I don't think they should hesitate to jump into the course. Obviously, the information that you give it's enough for the person to make it into different job titles. I would just say watch out for the subnet masking.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's probably one of the toughest for it was tough for me, but it was also one of the things that I enjoyed the most.
Oh, yeah. That's good to hear. And I agree, that's probably the most conceptually difficult part of IT, because we don't think in binary, so it takes time to get used to.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any additional advice for, not even necessarily for course careers, but just somebody who wants to get into IT, like having studied and made a resume and like all this stuff? Do you have any advice for anyone wanting to get in, like any kind of tips or anything like that?
In regards to the course careers, I would say do it. It's not a lot of courses out there, or like boot camps or what have you, that are this reasonably priced, and just trying to get into the field like I was, you just have to do it. Even if you're taking small steps, like looking at people such as Professor Messer, different people from IT related places, learning what you have to learn. There's a lot of stuff to learn, but like even the basic things, TCP, FTP, even a little bit of like command prompt, every little step will bring you towards your goal.
Yeah, that's really well said. And to talk about the point of looking other sources like Professor Messer, I really recommend people to do this. Like even all throughout the course, at the end of the modules, I'll say like, okay, now go and like Google these terms or search YouTube for these terms and see if you understand everything that they're saying, if it matches mine, or if you learn something new. Because it's really good to hear it from many different sources, especially for hard stuff. Like you said, TCP and like IP addressing. I had to learn that from like 4 or 5 different sources, honestly, when I was learning it the first time. So
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's very well said. And going forward, like what are your plans? Are you just going to work in IT and then try to spin up some YouTube on the side? And do you want to get into cloud, or like kind of what are your goals and stuff?
Honestly, I want to do YouTube on the side, but not only with IT related material, but family matters as well. I do have a family. I have a son. As far as like my career, seeing how vast IT is, I'm torn between cloud and cybersecurity. I do want to do cybersecurity because there's a lot of things out there happening to people, and it's unfortunate. People are being taken advantage of. So many scammers out there. So I make it a point for myself to want to take care of my family, and not only my family, but everyone around me. So I think cybersecurity might be something I'm really looking into.
That's good. And the kind of good news about that is if you go to cybersecurity, you'll kind of get pulled into cloud anyways. And if you go to cloud, you'll get pulled into cybersecurity anyways. So you can just like probably, end up okay.
Just go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Some good plans. Yeah, I really appreciate having you on. Do you have any like final thoughts, or like any questions or anything like this?
I would just say thank you for being a person of your stature, being able to speak to people in a way that they will understand. I noticed like during the course, you give it's like simple thoughts and simple tips on things, but when you take it and you apply it and continue to apply it, it expands your knowledge in different ways, like how you brought up Google different small things and practice those things, so that when it comes time, say for like an interview, when it comes time to actually get into the interview, you're comfortable with what you know, and you can just tell them what you got to tell them, and then
yeah, you don't
it's
have to.
easy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really easy.
Yeah, it's kind of like for example, you pour a lot, like if you go to the interview and they're like, okay, if you final question or whatever, you need to pour this glass and like fill this glass up with water, and it's so easy for you to do, right? Because you've done that like 1,000 times in your life. It's kind of like the same concept. If you do something like so many times, it just becomes boring and kind of second nature-ish. So then it's like you don't have to think too much, right? And be nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like super important. I can't stress that enough. I try to like say that in my channel a lot, but I don't know, I think people are getting tired of hearing it.
Nah, man, it works, you know. So I think that would be it. Just thank you for continuing to be you, and wanting to help people, because that makes people like me want to help others and do the same.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that a lot. Follow him on YouTube, or subscribe to Tevin. I'll put that thing on the screen again, and then I'll put it in the description as well. All right, yeah, thanks so much. We'll see you in Discord.
Thank you.
Mhm.